All right, you guys ready? I'm ready to roll. It's past
This is my
11:30.
outline. We got to add their names.
Great.
All right, let's do it. Roberto, you ready to roll? Good morning, Lisa Lawson. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast. Today is Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. Podcast brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS number 1820. We have a very educational, high-octane, very vibrant, enthusiastic podcast. I'm pretty jacked up. But before we get into it, I'm introduced the panel today. First of all, foremost, Google the office, Miss Macomb County, Lisa Lawson. Good morning, Lisa.
Morning, everybody.
Also joining us, Mr. John Kolb, straight from the banks of the Red Cedar River, and the number, I'm going to project, 10 seed Michigan State Spartans, Mr. John Kolb.
I mean, do we really want to just announce that I'm a Spartan fan anymore? I'm so upset with the coaching and the play that I just can't even anymore.
I don't know. Take a look behind you. I don't know. It says you're a Spartan on your wall right behind you. I don't know. It's nothing new.
Shit. You're right. I can't block them all.
Along with that, we have straight from Southfield Lathrop High School, captain of the 1984 Harvey 5-4 Charger baseball team catcher extraordinaire, Harvey Freed. Good morning, Harvey.
Yes, Harry. I'm also a mortgage extraordinaire, but thank you for bringing up the past. Yes.
Well, there you go. Because sometimes, Harvey, high school's all you got. Anyways, this show is produced and directed by Roberto Beauchene. He's in the booth. He is the illustrious producer and director of the Valeni and Rico Show, heard every Monday through Friday, 97.1 FM from, we're going to say 2 o'clock to around 6 when Wojo gets in, maybe. So anyways, there we are. That's a great introduction. I'm Harry Glanz. Guys, I want to get right into it. We try to stay ahead of it on this podcast, on the show. We try to dispense very valuable consumer advice, and everybody's jumping on the bandwagon now. I was just sent an article by one of my real estate friends. We know and previously have shared what interest rates are going to do, what the home market's going to do, what appreciation is going on. If you wait, what home prices are going to be in the future. But it's been solidified now, Lisa Lawson. Barbara Corcoran of the Shark Tank says it must be true. I'm not slighting her. She's a very successful real estate broker. I applaud her success. I'm just making a point that now all of a sudden, one of the Shark Tank people said, hey, listen, if you're waiting to buy a house, it's going to cost you money. Prices are going up. Even if interest rates come down, we'll talk about that in a minute. They're not coming down. If interest rates go down, there are going to be more people entering the market, Lisa Lawson. So what are we telling people to do?
The same thing we've been telling them to do year after year after year. If it's the right time for you to buy a house, it doesn't matter what the rates are. And rent is always more expensive than owning. You don't get any of the benefits of home ownership. And I'm not talking about just like pride of home ownership, but I'm talking about tax benefits and building equity in your property and taking advantage of appreciation and all the other things that go with that if you're renting. So nice that Miss Barbara got on the bandwagon, but why didn't you say that last year, the year before? No offense. I mean, this is not new information.
You know why? Because it's just like, it's the bandwagon effect. It's that snowball effect. Everybody wants to jump on it. And we want to give the most up-to-date, most valuable advice to our clients and clients, around the world, frankly. They're listening around the world. They're listening in Scotland, Ireland. They're listening in the UK. We know they are because they text me all the time. But Harvey Freed, I'm going to go to you on this. Again, it's like blocking and tackling. Why do we bring these things up constantly? Because they're tried and true, Harvey.
I like that. Well, maybe Barbara Cochran did talk about home ownership. She was in real estate sales in Manhattan for a long time. So maybe she's always been on that path. But now people are definitely recognizing that the lack of inventory is a whole other issue. And it really changes the game because it's one of the situations they didn't have in the housing bubble. We didn't have a lack of inventory, plenty of inventory then. They were building single family homes. There was a wide price range. Cities like Detroit were really just coming out of their turmoil that they had for 50 years. So it's interesting to see how things have changed dramatically. Now, lots of new first time home buyers, everyone I'm talking to, truly either a second time buyer and they're really buying up, or first time home buyers and a lot of the down payment assistance programs. So, yeah, I just met with the lady here on the phone, anyways. And we're definitely moving forward about a 185 purchase. So if your wheelhouse is somewhere in between that starter home price of about 160 to 225 to 250, you got to hurry. Again, that window of opportunity keeps closing in. And once they drop the rates, if they ever drop the rates, they'll even be double down on the amount of buyers out there.
Yeah, John Kolb, listen, it's March 13th. The official arrival of spring on the calendar is 3/21, but we know that the home market right now is in full swing. But you know what's going to happen when it's spring is sprung, all the newspapers, all the TV stations, radio say, oh, it's springtime, go out and buy a home, go out and buy a home. If you're waiting, John, you're losing, your phone's ringing, you've got a lot of offers coming up, and we've been doing all the prep work. Lisa and I talked about it just the other day. All the prep work that everybody's been doing over the winter time to get ready. If you're just starting to do that now, John, you're way behind, way behind.
Yeah, I mean, people are sheep and they're going to just listen to the news. And, unfortunately, there's few people that listen to us as professionals and the advice that we've been giving for over, 2-3 years about this. People are sheep. They're gonna wait till the news tells them to do something. They're gonna wait till Barbara Cochran tells them to do something because they can't get out of their own heads that everything on TV is real. So yes, we are always trying to proclaim the truth of what's going on. We're going to be more knowledgeable quicker than anything you see on TV or hear from your local celebrity. And we have been working the channels to make sure that the spring is going to be a good spring for us and that we're prepped and ready for all our buyers. I did 4 pre-approvals over the weekend and 2 of them hit already. So and hopefully the third is going to take some action too. So it's coming and I'm excited. And like I told you last week, I can't wait to say I told you so.
Well, I hope you're right. I was going to segue back to you on that, but I'm going to go right into Lisa because Lisa's shaking her head when you said that you did 4 pre-approvals over the weekend, 2 of them hit. Lisa's been inundated with pre-approvals, and I don't use inundated as a negative term. I use that as a positive term because the busier she is, the busier you are, the busier we all are. It just goes ahead to the credibility of how this market is turning right now. And when I say turning, again, everybody is hopping on that bandwagon. But Lisa Lawson, Queen of Macomb County, Google the office, you have countless pre-approvals out there on the street. And what are you foreseeing for your spring and summer of 2024?
Oh, we got Lisa and you're on mute.
Lisa, you're on mute.
There we go. Sorry, it just popped up and it says you're being muted. So sorry about that. Yeah,
That's Roberto's fault.
I was just talking to a colleague about how many pre-approvals I just got. I mean, people that I've been talking to for a month, 6 weeks ago. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I got all my stuff together. Here it is. And I literally got 9 over the weekend. So it's kind of crazy. Some of them were, new people I haven't spoken with. Some were people who just took their time waiting for tax returns, doing whatever. But it's like all of a sudden we got this nice weather, and this usually doesn't probably happen until April. And everybody's like, oh, I'm behind the 8 ball, and everyone wants a new house. So I think it's ramping up very quickly and probably getting a little bit of a jump start due to our warm weather here. But you cannot wait. And yes, there might be a little bit more competition, but the longer you wait, it's just going to get worse. So if you decide, oh, well, I heard it's ramping up and I don't want to get in the mix, and you decide to do this in the summer, it's going to be worse than if you do it now. So obviously timing is everything, and you really need to start now to give yourself the best opportunity.
Yeah, hey Harvey, Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Show last Saturday confirmed that if you wait, you're going to lose money. We had Brooke Brock on from BBR Realty. We talked about and we confirmed, obviously, the rates, rents are not going down. Rates aren't going down either. I'm going to circle back that with John Kolb when I hit him up. Waiting and not being in the home buying game right now, if you wait till next year, it's going to cost you, documented, between 10 and 20% more next year. It's going to cost you even more if you think rates are coming down, because if they actually do come down next year, not this year, John, next year to maybe 5.5, it's going to cost you upwards of 20% more, Harvey. So we always say, one wise man told me, what are you waiting for, Harvey Freed? What are people waiting for?
I hope they're not waiting for anything. So the sheeple out there, the people that, like John Kolb said, sort of following the wrong people. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be 10 or 20%, but let's say 5% on 300,000. Well, that's 15,000 in equity you missed out on. The year after that, it's another 15,000. So just even at 5% equity appreciation, which we're seeing an average in Southeast Michigan for sure. And all cities are definitely 5% higher. Keep it on the conservative side. Again, that's a significant number for you. And it costs you a lot more. Again, $10,000 at 7% equals $68 in principal and interest. So if you can borrow $10,000 less, you can save $68 a month. So again, times two, if it's $20,000 less that house you're going to buy, that $400,000 house you're going to buy this year, same type of thing, $68 per 10,000. It starts adding up, Harry, pretty quickly.
Harvey, I love the math of it all. I love math problems. Math, you cannot argue with the math, okay? So I'm a fact-based debater. No math ever steered me wrong. If it makes sense math-wise, everybody for their own sake, do the math on it. If it's going to cost you more money, why would you wait? I just don't get it. John, I got to go right to you on this. By the way, John Kolb, interest rates are not going down to 5.5 anytime soon. As recently as last week, your pal and mine, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, confirmed that the Fed, John Kolb, and he said this, he said, "Hi, John Kolb in Michigan. I am in no hurry to lower rates." So there's that.
Well, once again, he's talking out of his ass. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's one of those things that he'll say something yesterday, and then in 2 days he'll say something else, and it causes the market to go flip flop. So I really don't take anything that they say as word or I just can't, because it's nonsense. The rates need to come down a little bit. They need to start cutting them. Prime at 8.5 is a little too high. And I mean, maybe they'll listen to us, Lisa, in a couple years after saying it back and forth, and we'll just be the new Fed chairman as a Zoom committee.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want that job.
Hey, Lisa, going to that, I believe, I don't know what John and Harvey feel about it, but I feel that you can control what you can control. I can't control what the Fed is going to do or what they're not going to do. I can only control what I do and what I say and how I react to things. So when advising my clients, I always tell them, who cares about the rate? If you find the house, buy the house if you can afford it. We're going to be talking about 18 to 22% interest credit card rates right now, but stick with mortgage rates for a second. More millennials are entering into the home buying market, Lisa. The average age is still 34. That means 27 to 41. The millennials are 1981 birth years to 1996 birth years, so that falls right in line. The math doesn't lie. Lisa Lawson, first-time home buyers, they thought millennials were going to live with their parents in their parents' basement forever. It didn't turn out that way, did it?
I guess not. But I guess it depends. I mean, I'm older, obviously. Millennials are, precede me. But I got moved out at 24. And I don't think that that's always happening. I think people might be waiting a little bit longer. I think the younger generation maybe has a little bit more debt, trying to save a little bit more money, maybe getting a little bit more established. I don't see as many, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds buying houses, but they're still buying houses. And there's so many programs out there for first-time home buyers, so many. I mean, we talk about MISHDA all the time if you live here in Michigan, but every state has its own MISHDA, for example. I mean, they all have housing down payment assistance programs. There's Chenoa for down payment assistance. We here have something called FHA Buyer's Choice specific to CMG here, and it's a 5% down payment program for a 3.5% down FHA mortgage. It gives you 1.5% left over to use towards closing costs. There is just so many. I mean, we talk about national faith. If you're a little short on funds, it doesn't mean no. And especially now, we've got people getting tax returns back. Why they aren't calling us and say, hey, I got $5,000 in my tax return. Often with that tax refund money, you know what I mean? And a DPA program, we can get you into a home and you can stop wasting your money on rent. Build some.
That is a great tip.
Yeah, build wealth for your future. And then in 5, 7, 8 years, you sell that starter home, use all the appreciation that it made and roll that into your next house. I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
That's the way it's been done for years, Lisa. I don't know
Years and
anybody
years.
that's bought a second home without using the proceeds of the fund of their first home, unless they kept it for a rental property, right?
Warren Buffett is like the richest man for what? His real estate. And there's a reason for that.
Well, I believe that it's kind of like this. If Warren Buffett and 2 of his friends got together and told you to buy a house now because it's going to cost you more money in the future, would you do it? Yeah, you'd do it in a heartbeat, John Kolb. John, your favorite age group, the millennials, are following directly in the footsteps of their parents and now grandparents, the baby boomers, racking up record levels of debt. Yes, mostly brought about by student loans, but they're still using credit cards. The credit card debt in this country is an all-time high. Our buddy Mark Cuban, another Shark Tanker. I read an article and I watched a video by him, and he says things that rich people don't believe in. Paying credit card interest, 18 to 22, 25%, John. So what would you tell people that have this newfound equity in their home to do with that equity?
I mean, what I'm telling, 2 people I'm doing a loan for right now is use the equity to pay off your credit card debt. I mean, like we talked about in the first, Harvey talked about, it's all about the math. I'm taking a guy from a 3 1/8 interest rate on a 30-year fix to 7.99, pulling out $85,000 worth of cash to pay some credit card debt off and other debt too. Saving him $900 a month. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And then we'll bring him back and refinance when rates come down. Or if rates don't come down, we can bring him back and refinance as a rate and term and still get the rate lower, because we all know that cash out rates are higher than rate and term rates. If you don't know what that means, reach out to us and we'll explain it all. It's the math. It's a no-brainer. You got to do it. You cannot let yourself get buried in this credit card debt. But we see it way too often.
We do. And hey, Harvey, I'm going to give you another math problem, okay? Let's just say over the last couple years, say 2 years, you had a $200,000 house and it appreciated 10%. So the value's up to $220 now, right? Let's say you have $15,000 in credit card debt. You've gained $20,000, but you only need $15,000 to pay off that debt. Why wouldn't you do it, Harv? It's free. It really is. When I say this term, it's really free money to you, because no matter what rate you get on that refinance transaction now, your debt will be paid off and it's still going to be lower than 18 to 22%, Harvey.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, great point, Harry, but definitely we want to include some information out there to consumers. Yeah. You need to have an 80% loan to value, meaning the maximum is 80% loan to value. So if it goes up to 220 and you bought the house for 200, you can't take that cash out in most situations. Maybe the following year you can. It all depends what your loan balance is. But yes, theoretically, yes, 1000%. Saving money is saving money. Just compare apples to apples. Make sure that you check out what your savings, your net savings. That's the important thing. And then maybe if one day the Federal Reserve does release great news and drops these rates a little bit, maybe you could save money by refinancing your mortgage.
Well, you can, because if you bought that house for 200 and now the value's up to 220 and you put 20% down, which means, oh, I don't know. What do you have, Harvey? You have a $160,000 mortgage balance. Okay. You could definitely go ahead and refi the house, pull 15 out. You still have 5 left. They're going to be under the 80 LTV, and you won't have any more credit card debt. 18 to 22% and higher is toxic. We could save you money. Lisa, John, Becky, Capital Mortgage Funding, Harvey, everybody is saving everybody money that wants to come here because that's just what we do. I can't be more passionate about saving money. If you are paying 18 to 22% and higher on credit card debt, you are wasting money if you own a house. Nobody cares that you have a 4% interest rate on your mortgage, while the credit card companies are collecting 18 to 22%. Lisa, I just think it's nickel wise and dollar foolish. So you tell your friends and neighbors at the cocktail party that you got a 4% interest rate. But are you telling them you're paying 20% on your Visa, MasterCard, and American Express bill?
Of course not. Of course not. I don't really believe in paying interest. It's like my mantra. If I can't afford it, I just don't buy it. That's my personal belief. And I get it. That's not always the ability for everybody out there. Sometimes emergencies happen, and I get that. But, your best bet is to try to live interest free. If you actually look, and I tell people all the time, I have clients, oh, you've got 8 credit cards. What are the minimums on all these? And I go, look at the interest charge, just the interest you're paying. That's not paying anything really down yet. And they add them up and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm paying $400 some odd in interest just on all these minimums. And I'm like, isn't a car payment a good car payment? I'm like, and you're really throwing that money away. So getting debt paid down is really important for financial success. And if we've got equity and that's something we can help, you do, then I say all the more power. Let's get her done.
Yeah, let's go. We're going to wrap it up. The Capital Mortgage Funding, Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS number 1820. We're going to go around the horn, but first, before we do that, John Kolb, tell us who's on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, heard every Saturday morning, 97.1 FM from 9 to 10. Who's coming on the show, John?
We actually have 2 guests. We have Jeffrey Gunsberg from Title Connect is coming on, and he's bringing Sarah Patrick from Oak and Stone Real Estate in Rochester. So we're excited to have both. They're going to bring a good dynamic of title and real estate and questions that we can answer. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we get a lot of title questions. Should you take it tenants in common, joint tenants with rights of survivorship? How do you transfer title? Ladybird deeds, quick claim deeds, adding people, taking people off. This will be a great show for people to call in and ask Jeff Gunsberg about title questions, along with real estate questions, with Sarah Patrick from Oak and Stone Real Estate in Rochester. Lisa, last words of the day.
Obviously everybody's got their own situation, and we talk about these things in generality, and we talk about paying off debt, and maybe that's not something that's feasible for you, but give us a phone call. We can help come up with the plan, and it still has to put you in the best position possible. So, everybody's scenario is different, and we're sensitive to that. I just think it's important to have that conversation. So if homeownership is in your future and it's something you want, maybe the answer isn't this year, maybe it's next year or the year after. But you don't know until you call, and you got to get started somewhere.
Great advice, Lisa. Harvey Freed, last words of the day for you.
My last words are stick with the plan. Again, really check the things that you don't know about. If you're a new buyer, find out quickly how much it's going to cost you to get involved in a transaction. Also, a couple months, maybe a couple weeks that you can take a look at your credit. You want to engage really right away with a real experienced mortgage banker. That's going to be the key to success. The mortgage bankers offer all the down payment assistance programs. A lot of these smaller shops, brand new brokers are hitting it. They're trying to sell you on some make-believe low interest rate. Meanwhile, you're missing out on all the good stuff. You're missing out on the education about the home process, about getting the right house and things you should look out for. And you think you might be saving an eighth or a quarter on interest rate. Meanwhile, you just bought a house that needs a new roof, a new sewer line, and all the things that your lender couldn't discuss with you because they just don't know. Experience counts, especially when you're buying your first home.
Appreciate that, Harvey. John Kolb, wrap it up for us.
I just want to circle back to where we were saying $400 is a good car payment, which it is, $400 in savings. But think about it in terms of what your buying power for a new mortgage would be. You're talking about with today's rates, that's $58,000 more in buying power that you could have if you got rid of your $400 a month in debt. If you talk about going down to where rates were a little bit lower, you're talking closer to $80,000 to $100,000 in more buying power. So if you're sitting on the fence waiting for rates to drop, get off the fence, but start working on your credit and getting that stuff paid off so that when rates come down, that what you're waiting for, your buying power is so much more, because you're going to need it, because houses are going to be more expensive because you're waiting.
There's no question, John. I appreciate that. And as always, I appreciate Lisa Lawson, Harvey Freed, John Kolb, Roberto Beauchene in the booth, our producer and director. But my last words for today are something for everybody to think about. Home appreciation has been steadily increasing since 2020, during the pandemic and now after. If you purchased a home or owned a home before 2020 and purchased since in 2020, you have achieved record appreciation. If you're going to stay in that house for a long period of time, which there's no reason not to, you should take a look at paying off any toxic debt that you have. Now, if you're free and clear on all your debt and you don't need to use it, then keep the appreciation in the house. However, if you have $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 and maybe more of 18 to 22% toxic debt, take some of that appreciation that you've gained in that house. It is not going to hurt you, and pay off the toxic debt. I implore you to do that. We'll help you do the math. We'll help you make the right decision. If it doesn't make sense, we'll tell you it doesn't make sense. It's just plain and simple. Also, going back to what our Shark Tank friends, Barbara Corcoran, has said, listen, why are we waiting? It's going to cost you 10, 15, 20% more next year if you wait. If rates come down, it's going to cost you more, because prices will go up. It's supply and demand. Rates go down, demand is up, prices go up. Right now, prices are going up because the demand is going up and rates are at 7.5. So listen, you got to do the math. The math doesn't lie. I appreciate you, Lisa, John Kolb, Harvey Freed, Roberto Beauchene in the booth. Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Podcast. Today is Wednesday, March 13, 2024. We'll see you soon.